What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Nothing But Reds, the podcast where we discuss nothing but Liverpool FC from the American viewpoint. Joining with me, as always, Stephen Norbury. Stephen, what's going on, man?
What's going on? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Trying to get this split screen to work out, so hopefully it's working. But so yeah, shorter one today. I know our first one was about an hour, so let's get into it. First off, you've been watching the World Cup at all?
Of course.
Yeah.
Based on my work schedule, I haven't been able to see a whole heck of a lot of it, but I've definitely been watching a lot of highlights. I saw some of the Brazil game the other day. That was a crazy game, and actually I think Neymar got hurt today in training. So
Yeah, I saw that ankle, I think, or something like that.
yeah, we'll see what happens with them. I'm not sure. Coutinho's goal, that was a worldie for sure.
Nuts. And you knew he was going to do it, right? As soon as that's his spot, right on the right foot. He wraps it around and then hits the upper 90 on the right-hand side on the far post.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ball, it wasn't a clean play at all.
No.
I want to say it was like a deflection that bounced back to him.
Yeah, it was a bad clearance. Someone on, who were they playing? Was it, not Peru, who were they playing?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me this because I was just
God, I can't remember who they were playing. I knew someone in red. I'll remember it later in the show, but it was a bad clearance, and then he just got it and just ripped it. But
oh yeah, the curve. If you watch the angle from behind the shot, the curl was like Beckham.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
We've seen that. He's just perfected it the past 3 seasons. It's just gotten better and better and better.
Why he's not at Liverpool anymore is because of that.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that right foot to the top left corner, he'd still be with us. So
yeah, but anyway, as we said last time, he's gone. We're not worried about it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But kind of on the same note, let's talk about Firmino not starting. Now, we all kind of know Jesus is good, right? But
right.
What do you think it is? What do you think the reason is that he's starting? Is it the pace? Is it the youth? I mean, it can't be the talent because they're on the same page, in my opinion. So, what do you think?
In terms of talent, toughness, and skill, Firmino's got it.
100% physicality, I agree there.
Well, he's more physical. He's a little older, so I could say maybe youth would have something to do with it. Maybe the coach just doesn't see what we see. I mean, we're Liverpool fans, so we see it kind of way. But, I mean, even if you look at the numbers, Firmino, Jesus,
yeah,
that's the way it is. Great player, great young player. It's tough to see a guy like Roberto Firmino sit on the bench for me just because of what I saw him do this year. I mean, let's face it, Jesus isn't even the best striker on his club team. It's Aguero.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely someone would definitely pick you up and debate you on that. But I agree with you. I think I would start Aguero over Jesus. But I think he's just pacey, man. I mean, and I'm strictly going off of what I've seen in club league play, Premier League play, and then also kind of what I play with him on FIFA. But, I mean, the man's quick. Not only that, but he's a great finisher for his age. He's real young. I think he's like 20 or 21, man. He can't be that old.
I would say 22 tops. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but...
is 25? That's
25
right?
or 26, yeah, it sounds about right.
26 recently. But, mid-20s. Definitely. I mean, based on the way we've seen him progress the last 2.5 years, roughly, he's not even in his prime yet.
No.
So his interplay is ridiculous. His dribbling is ridiculous.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think something else we have to look at as far as the lineup for Brazil goes is the team chemistry in that front three. Because you have Neymar, and then I think he's playing Coutinho on the right wing, which I'm not used to seeing.
I want to say Coutinho was...
Or midfield, maybe.
Left mid.
But I think you're right. And then was it Willian started on the right wing? That's what it was.
Him's right wing. Coutinho left mid. Casemiro and Paulinho center mid, right mid. Those two.
Yeah, because they played a 3-4-2-1, or I don't even know what the formation is, but they had a back three, and then it was 4 across the middle, and then you had the 3 up top. So I guess it was a 3-4-3. I guess you could call it. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah. But back to what I was saying. I think that maybe there's a better rapport / team chemistry between Jesus and all them. I don't know if it's because Firmino hasn't necessarily been the starter, like the starting striker necessarily. I mean, I'm trying to think about who was starting before him because Firmino has kind of always been in the Brazil squad, but he hasn't necessarily been the star. You know, like you said, like this season has been his best season for Liverpool so far. So I think maybe next year, him grabbing the spot, who knows? I mean, personally,
one thing I want to point out for sure is when you look at Brazil's lineup, they got Willian and Neymar on the wings.
right?
Those guys are somewhat stapled in. If you look at what Liverpool has as a club, they have Mane on the left and Salah on the right. 2 speedsters, just like Neymar and Willian. And Roberto Firmino fits in with Mane and Salah perfectly.
Great point. Yep.
Me, he fits in perfectly into the puzzle piece of the Brazil national team. I just don't get it. I definitely went on Twitter and Instagram afterwards and saw a lot of people saying, hey, why isn't Firmino starting? Firmino should be starting. Jesus, he'll be around for another few more World Cups. Firmino, maybe only one more. Who knows?
Yeah.
Jesus has plenty of time. He's not in his prime yet, but I think at this point in their careers, Firmino should be starting, especially considering the layout of Willian and Neymar to his right and his left are very comparable to Salah and Mane in terms of pace and ability. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Sure. I didn't even think about it as far as comparing it to Liverpool, but you're right. Yeah. I mean, you have an excellent, pacey, right-footed winger in Neymar, and then Willian's a right-footer. He's not the left-footed that Salah is. But we know from watching Liverpool that Firmino dropped back in with that false 9 position, and Salah stayed forward. And I don't think they're playing that same system. Maybe that ties into it. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it's an interesting scenario, and hopefully we'll see if Brazil gets deep in the tournament. We'll see Firmino start, but I'm just kind of dumbfounded by that. But let's talk about the important stuff for Liverpool: the revival of Nabil Fekir. And here I'm going to read off what Fekir's agent said. So this is a quote from his agent. He said, Nabil Fekir passed the medical checkup for Liverpool. He did not sign because it's not over. The story isn't over. I mean, is he just trying to stir the pot? Is that a genuine quote? What do you think?
I mean, I don't necessarily know why his agent would stir the pot, especially considering if his agent was playing games, he'd be putting his career in jeopardy because whatever Fekir gets, whatever Fekir does in terms of signing a deal and making money, the agent gets a piece of it.
Sure.
I don't think he would mess around and jeopardize his piece of the pie. Having said that, I'm definitely optimistic that maybe something might happen with Fekir in the near future. What do you think?
I just think Liverpool aren't going to budge with this. I do see... I don't think it's over. I think negotiations are going on still. And if Liverpool can get a fair deal for what they think is fair based on the risk they're taking, I think they'll end up signing him because we know that Klopp would rather have his first choice than his second best choice. And he'll wait it out too. So I think he wants Fekir in the squad. But I said this in the last podcast too. I would just hate to see Fekir sign and then he gets injured. And it's that either it's a bad knee injury. I mean, that would just be horrible. It would kind of make this whole saga like come to light. I don't know. I would love to have Fekir for his talent, but as far as this story goes, I think negotiations are still going on, and I think if the agent's a good agent, he's trying to not stir the pot, as I said, but maybe try to keep it open for maybe other clubs that want him. Because we know that Liverpool kind of stepped back with it, so obviously a good businessman is going to keep that door open for other clubs to come in and make offers too.
I think as it pertains to the knee and the knee injuries, if you held off on everybody that had an injury, you'd never make any signings. There's been a lot of big players that have had a lot of big injuries. I think for Lyon, they understand that Fekir has his mind elsewhere, whether it's Liverpool or wherever the hell he might want to go. Yeah. Who knows? I'm assuming it's Liverpool. But they know that he's not going to be a Lyon player for the rest of his career. He's a guy that's working himself into his prime. Great player. I think at some point they might budge. Maybe it's not with us. Maybe it's not for a much lower price. Maybe it's for the same price that we had agreed with them before. But if you are in charge of Lyon, you must know that it's the same thing we went through with Coutinho.
Yeah.
If Fekir doesn't want to be there, it's only a matter of time. Sell on the high. We're taking the risk if we sign him now with his knee. They're taking the risk if they don't sell him now with his knee. So I think the best thing we have in our favor is it works both ways.
Yeah.
We're taking on risk if we buy him with his knee issues. They're taking on risk if they don't sell now and he tears his ACL again or he tears his meniscus or who knows, maybe this time it's an ankle or a hip. Players play so hard throughout the year, especially when you're on a French team, the French national team. You're playing even more than at your average Joe who's not getting international team duty. So it works a little bit both ways. I'd still like to see us get him. The risk is the risk. I don't know. What do you think?
So I got two things, kind of touching on what you said. So the difference between Fekir and Coutinho, the main one is that this is Fekir's boyhood club. Like this is like Gerrard to Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
Granted, Lyon's not that big of a club in France. Oh, actually, in France, they're a big club, right? They're huge. But in terms of world football success, they're not necessarily that big. And I think that's what's grabbing Fekir's attention, similar to how Coutinho left for Barcelona. But, he was South American. We know how they all want to play for the Spanish Giants, So I think that plays into it. So for him wanting to leave his boyhood club, I don't know. That's just, for me, that's just kind of interesting. I would always think that the loyalty is there, but the more and more I follow soccer, the less loyalty I see. So it's kind of a rare thing to find. But the second thing going off of that is the injury you talked about. It could be an ankle, it could be a hip or whatever. When you have an injury in a specific joint, especially when you're recovering from the joint or from the injury, subsequent joints weaken. Yeah, I mean, you know this. I mean, you know that a lot of times if you have a weak leg, one side you favor the other leg, you're going to develop problems with the other leg, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense if he had a weak knee, but it makes sense if he had a weak knee that maybe his ankle gets injured or his hip or whatever, maybe a muscular injury. I think that as far as the injuries go, we don't really have too much to worry about, and that's only because the surgery was 3 years ago, and he really hasn't had something serious since then. So I think by now it's healed, obviously, and he's doing everything he can to stay healthy and keep the knee healthy too. So I think we're just going to wait and see this play out, whether it's after the World Cup or further down the line. We'll see, but.
Yeah, and like I said in the last podcast, when it comes to football, who knows what's going to happen? I get all these updates from all these different apps saying X, Y, and Z. You never know until it happens.
Right.
I think the way Liverpool signed Fabinho was perfect. Because it wasn't surprise for us. We weren't anxious about it. It just kind of came through. Yep. We talked about him last time. We don't need to talk about him anymore. But when it comes to sagas like Coutinho, here. I don't even know. Alisson, the goalkeeper. You just have to wait and see it out. And I wish I could just put my phone down for 3 months.
Yeah.
What happens when the season starts, but unfortunately I can't do that. So neither can you.
Yeah, I can't.
We'll just see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on the goalkeeper thing. So I just don't see Klopp bringing in another goalkeeper, man. I think that because I think you mentioned it last time, if he didn't have those mistakes, we're not looking for another keeper. Karius is our guy. So I think Klopp's level-headed enough to see that. So, yeah, of course that we're not going to pay double the world record for a keeper. Everyone knows that.
Of course. But here's what I do have to say in rebuttal to what you said. Maybe he's not looking to bring in a star keeper, but Simon Mignolet has to go.
Right, so a replacement for him.
Or it's not a first-team player. I mean, we read things online saying, oh, he might get a chance. He gets a chance every year.
Yeah.
They all get a chance every year in training in the summer. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay? They put Danny Ward in between the sticks during a game. I might cut it off.
We give up 6 goals easily.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if the other team doesn't put good shots in, he can save them all because he plays goalkeeper at a professional level. But if you're talking about Liverpool, Danny Ward is never going to be on the first team sheet in a game that means anything. Maybe in preseason friendlies. I mean, against third
Ipswich Town and scrubs like that.
Leeds United. I don't know.
I would just like to remind our viewers that Adam Bogdan is still on the squad. Shout out Brendan Rodgers for making that signing. Dude came from Bolton after a mediocre season, and first time Klopp puts him in, he makes... I can't even remember. It was like a corner. He caught it, and then as he's running out to clear the ball, he like gets hit by someone's elbow and just drops it. Boom, goal. Like, never played again. Never played another minute.
Yeah.
What a scrub.
He's like number 5 on the depth chart in FIFA. It's hilarious. If you go digging, if you hold down on the analog stick and scroll down,
just go down. He's at the bottom.
Yeah. And he looks like a caveman.
Yeah, he does.
To him, he's trash.
He's booty. He's some booty.
I saw his link with Nick Pope from Burnley.
Yeah, Pope. He's a good English keeper. I think he's.
What's from today? I think I saw that for the first time today.
Really?
I know from Leverkusen, Leno. Is it from Leverkusen?
Leno. Apparently, he's agreed terms with Arsenal.
Yeah,
now.
He's with the Gunners now, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But like I said, you never know. Fekir was with us. We thought he was with us for 2 days. I was celebrating, and now, here we are. But they don't want to spend big money on a goalkeeper because they know that we can get to the Champions League final with a mediocre goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And that's what Loris Karius is. So moving on.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the players that we may offload this summer, and some players that, I mean, we touched briefly on the youth last time. You know what youth players are going to get a chance, but let's talk about Daniel Sturridge for a second.
Okay.
So, the initial reports are saying that we want about $15 million for him, and clubs such as Besiktas and I think, if I'm trying to remember correctly, Fenerbahce may have been another one.
Fenerbahce, yeah. Yep.
So,
and Sevilla.
Sevilla. That's right. That's the other one.
Yep.
So, it's looking like, because Sevilla's always had interest in him. He's 28. The guy can finish with the best of them. These clubs are just banking on him not getting injured, and it's not going to happen. I would hate if we sold the guy and then he's never had an injury again and he consistently has 15 and 20 goal seasons. That'd be terrible. But,
impossible.
Yeah, impossible. But
let's think about it this way. If he was a healthy guy, who knows if we'd ever seen Roberto Firmino? Who knows?
No.
He'd been there, but he would never have reached his full potential. This could be a blessing in disguise for us. Sturridge being injury prone, and he always has, but there was a stretch there when he was a little bit younger, and his tendons and ligaments and muscles were 5 years younger when he was the man.
He was the man, yeah.
Liverpool, so... Danny Sturridge, oh God.
It's so unfortunate, man, because you can just watch him play now, and you see it in the way he runs. It's almost, he's conservative. Like, he doesn't want to go 100% sprint. Everything's about, 90%. Yeah. And... that athleticism that he had that season with Suarez, it's just not there anymore.
You know? You're right.
Yeah. But so you think 15 million he's gone?
I think 15 million We sell that with maybe some more incentives. Like we get some more cash if he plays, or if he scores 7 goals, or something like that. And maybe we get upwards to another million or $1 million or $2 million.
Sure.
If you sell him for 15, a guy that was virtually useless the whole year, okay, and then you sell Mignolet, guys that won't see the light of day this year.
Get Mignolet out.
Yeah, and then you sell maybe one other guy. Who knows? Maybe it's Ryan Kent. You sell Ryan Kent for $5 million.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So, excuse me. You sell Ryan Kent for $5 million. You sell Mignolet for 15 to 20. You sell Sturridge for another 15 to 20. That's $35 million at the very lowest. 32 to 38 million that you have floating around. Now you can go and spend 40 on a goalkeeper, or now you can go spend 20 on a Nick Pope and another, I don't know, 25 on another center back. I don't know. 25 million gets you a lot in the market if it's not a huge name.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know if I would spend 20 million on a Nick Pope though, given that he's not even starting for England. And England's, I mean, Jack Butland,
He's rated at 40, I think. We can take him.
I don't want an English keeper though. I mean, just going off of prestige and history, English goalkeepers don't have it. But I think, and this is based on everything I've read, the German goalkeepers have it just instinctually. And I think that's why Klopp, I mean, not only did he play for his old club Mainz, but I mean, Karius knows what he's doing. But
yeah, got him for $4 million.
$4 million.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Legendary.
For us to get to the Champions League final, so.
Yeah. I think, I'm just trying to, he's not selling Lallana. I mean, I honestly think if Clavin re-signs, which I would have no problem with.
We can get by with Lovren, Van Dijk, Matip, and Clavin. Is that what you were about to say?
I was, but then when you said it like that, I don't think we can.
No, but I think we can. Like I said in the last podcast, Van Dijk's going to be there.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt, you got Lovren and Matip, which is where we were at the beginning of this year. Right? And those guys, yeah, they made their mistakes, but they're serviceable.
Yeah.
Maybe get one more. Yeah, you're right. Maybe get one more.
Yeah, we need one more.
Ragnar Clavin make too many mistakes.
No. But granted, the sample size for him to make mistakes has been very minimal. So
right. He doesn't bring much to the table going forward.
No. But that's fine. That's fine. He always plays one center back that can get forward and then one that's usually defensive, right? You see that with Matip and Lovren, and then you see it with Lovren and Van Dijk. Van Dijk's going to push forward, Lovren's going to stay back. But, yeah, I think Brewster, that was a big thing. I don't think we talked about him last time. This is completely changing directions, but Ryan Brewster signed that 5-year deal.
Is that pen to paper already? Is that in the books, or is that just what we've heard?
You know what? Let me double check right now because I want to be sure.
As far as I know, it's not set in stone. It's not engraved, but.
Wow. Okay, hold on. This is crazy. He's so low profile.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Well, that's YouTube. I don't want to go there.
I can tell you what I know from what I've read.
Yeah, you go ahead. Tell me what you know.
Look, from what I've read, Ryan Brewster, I don't know if it's Ryan or Rion, it's Rhain. He apparently signed a new long-term 5-year contract.
That's what I heard, yep.
I haven't seen those pictures that we all see of the person with the pen and the paper with the Liverpool thing in the background.
Yep.
But from my understanding, he's good to go. There were rumors that I believe he was going to go to the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I heard that.
So he wanted to be a German player, apparently. I don't see that. I don't know why you would go there. I mean, who are you going to play for? You're not going to Bayern Munich. You're not that good.
No, honestly, I could see him going to maybe like a Mainz, like a Köln, like a... Maybe a Wolfsburg. God, because Origi didn't work out.
Yeah, we talked about that last.
Yeah. So, all right. So this is according to ESPN.com. Peter O'Rourke, Liverpool forward Ryan Brewster is poised to sign a professional contract at Anfield to end speculation over his future. Sources have told ESPN. So he has not signed anything yet, but the talk is 5-year deal. It's probably in the works. They're probably finalizing the terms. So, yeah, that's kind of going off of what.
Yeah, why would you want to leave? I mean, we just went to the Champions League final.
Yeah.
There for the last 3 years.
Right.
Right. Why would you want to leave? Especially considering you're an offensive-minded player, right? What is he, center attacking mid? Striker? What is he?
He's a striker, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, look at it's paved for you.
Yeah.
The way it's paved for him and Solanke to take over at some point, if you want to look at it that way.
Look, all I want is my man Danny Ings to get a fair shot. That's all I want.
I don't think Solanke's better than him. I think Solanke is taller, can win more headers, and maybe more skilled, but I don't know many players, if any, in Liverpool, in that football club, that have the work rate and the heart that Danny Ings has. I really don't know.
Except for Firmino.
Yeah.
But
he's not out through a devastating injury, so we don't even know.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Danny Ings recovered from an ACL, a torn ACL, within like 2 weeks of being back in practice, tore the same one. And he was out.
It was bad. Almost like he missed like almost 2 years or 2.5 years.
2 full seasons. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And
it's work rate and it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's Lovren.
Yeah.
Work rate and heart. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, especially considering how much Lovren's fucked up in the past. I mean,
people have shit on him. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But like, you just watch him with Croatia. He played a really good game the other day. He's an athletic guy. That header in the Champions League final. You can't teach that.
Yeah. I still get goosebumps watching the one against Dortmund.
Didn't it? That Lovren's header where he really cocked back and hit it. I believe that led to Mane's goal. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. Because he put it in. It was off a corner, and he hit it, and then Mane came through and touched it in. So, yeah. I mean, he's growing too, and I mean, he may be a little late to the party. He is 28, but I mean, better late than never. You know what I mean?
Let's face it. You don't have to be super young and incredibly fast and incredibly good shape to play center back. You really don't.
No, you're right.
You need to be smart. You need to be able to win headers. And you need to be tough. And he's all those things, except sometimes his brain has lapses at times.
He definitely has some.
Mertesacker.
Yeah.
Lowest player to ever step on a pitch. Ever. And he had an unbelievable career. But that's besides the point. Moving on. What do we got next?
Hey, man. I think for tonight, that's about it. Yeah. I think, obviously, we have the World Cup. And as it continues, we can talk. I want to get into how Liverpool players are performing. I think we have 7 in the World Cup. And I know Henderson had a fantastic off-the-ball captain, if you want to call it, because he didn't get the armband. Kane did. But excellent game for Henderson. You also saw Mane played well today. I watched a little of the Senegal game today. He played pretty well. Yeah. And then, of course, Salah scored the penalty. Unfortunately, they've lost 2. I think Egypt's out. I think I don't see them coming back. I don't even think mathematically they can, but...
Oh, no, mathematically they can, but they need a miracle. They need, everyone to crumble.
Yeah.
To win the next one. To move on. Real quick before we move on from that, I don't know why Salah didn't play the other day.
It was the injury.
I know he's not fully fit. He's still today. If today he's fully fit, then the other day he was 95%. There's no reason you don't put him in. As a Liverpool fan, I kind of liked it just because I don't want him to be all banged up coming into summer training.
Sure.
But if he wasn't okay to play at all the other day, then he shouldn't have been okay to play a full game today.
All right. I agree with you. I think he should be playing regardless. It's his shoulder. I mean, it does hurt to run. But
his first one, maybe his last one, probably his last one.
Yeah. I just, it's a weird situation. I mean, I don't know if you saw the report where the fan came over and like hugged him when he got off the bus.
Yeah.
And he was super sensitive to it. So I mean, maybe he's still recovering. Maybe, but ultimately it's not up to him. It's up to the trainers.
Was the Premier League, if this was, I would say probably only the Premier League, not the Champions League, he would need another week or two, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the Egypt coach knows they probably shouldn't have made it this year.
Yeah, it was Salah who
There's a
made
very,
it for him.
very high chance that they won't make it the next time. Because you got to think about the teams that missed out. Italy, the United States,
Netherlands, unbelievable.
Van Dijk,
Wijnaldum,
Genie.
Quincy Promes, he's good. I like him. But
Egypt got in this year. They got Salah, but I mean, aside from maybe a couple other C-grade players, they don't really have much. So
yeah, the only other one I know of is that Higazi dude or whatever from West Brom.
I think Iwobi's there.
Iwobi? He's Egyptian?
Iwobi might be Egyptian.
That an Arsenal dude, Iwobi?
Yes. He might be. I don't know. Who cares? We're not going to get into that. But.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but so next podcast coming soon, but we'll talk about some of the statistics as far as Liverpool players go in the World Cup. Keep you updated on transfer news. Obviously, this Fekir saga, we'll see where that goes.
I can guarantee that.
Yep. Any last thoughts for the people, Steve?
Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any. I'm just excited to see how the boys do, how the Liverpool boys do moving forward in the World Cup.
I know.
I need to see Firmino in that.
I need to watch Firmino play. It's so satisfying.
Fathom waiting 4 years to see him play in a World Cup. And at that point, Jesus will probably be in his prime. He needs to play.
Yeah.
You're putting a world-class player with no position, because he can play multiple places, on the bench and bringing him on in, the 80th minute? And I think he had 2 chances. I think he had 2 shots. One was a header and one was a shot. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right.
He had 2. Yeah, he had 2 chances where he could have potentially put one away. But, I mean, we're talking about Gabriel Jesus.
Hey, another thing you have to look at, too, most people are expecting Brazil to get out of the group stage, right? So, another thing that they could be doing is playing Jesus in the group stage, getting clear, saving Firmino for the important games. That's another thing you have to look at.
And I see that for sure, but from my understanding, Jesus has been the guy.
No, yeah, from everything I've seen, he's been the starting striker, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'll tell you what. If Neymar's hurt and he